what's up and why, bringing you the bright side of life one fun moment at a time. Brought to you by the New Thought Media Network. Please put your hands together for your hosts, Rev Casey Taylor and Miss B Lovely.
Hey.
Click. Shout out to Beyonce. Get me bodied.
Yes. I just noticed I'm wearing the outfit that I was wearing in the intro. Like I just happened to be hat and the hoodie that I was wearing in the intro.
It's giving cozy vibes. It's giving comfort. It's giving authenticity. I think it's giving another episode of What's Up and Why. How you be today, Rev? Oh, not the camera started freezing and rained on my parade.
Right? I mean,
the camera was freezing and rained on my parade.
That is what happened. The raining on the parade is in full effect. This is why I'm in cozy mode in Oklahoma City, because it's been raining for the last couple of days. It rained on the lunar eclipse. I made every effort. I was out there at 7 a.m. trying to see it. I saw a little sliver of the moon looking all big and bright, but around the time it was supposed to be the blood red moon, it was by clouds. I missed it completely, but grateful for in the cozy vibes in the last few days, getting cozy in Oklahoma City. I'm not mad at it. It's spring is springing.
I'm getting back into my cozy vibes. I am recovering from a really bad cold that almost knocked your girl out. Shout out to the healthcare workers, but I had a bad cold, but that did not stop me from going to see Alicia Keys and Swiss Beats Giants Art from the Dean Collection traveling exhibit before it left the Virginia Museum of Fine Arts in Richmond, Virginia. It was a beautiful experience. It was like over 130 artwork pieces. It was like sculptures, textiles, photos, paintings, full-on exhibits. And on top of that, besides the art, they also had like Black music playing throughout the whole entire gallery. So you hear like Marvin Gaye, you hear all these, soulful R&B artists and stuff as you're going through looking at all this beautiful Black art. So that definitely helped to lift my spirits as I was getting over that terrible cold. So I feel like I'm getting back into my groove.
I love that for you. And I love that you are always hitting up a museum, that you're always like this exhibit, that one. We talking about books, like we on our artist stuff. While AI is slowly taking over the world, I am grateful that you and I are still out here reading books and showing up. Right now, in Black History Month just ended, but around the end of it, like the last day, somebody in Oklahoma somewhere posted about how Ralph Ellison was born in Oklahoma City, and I had no idea. I've read half of The Invisible Man, and so I worked a lot at the shelter this week. Shout out to CCU Services, and I've been carting that book around with me, and I always really like bringing a book to the shelter because a kid always like takes it. We talk about it, and like that's what I want us to be talking about, not SpongeBob videos, which we do talk about those too. But Oklahoma natives.
It's so funny that you bring that up because there was this thread that's going around now on I call it Twitter still, even though officially the new name is X. But somebody has started a thread saying post your favorite book that you read when you was a teenager that was corny back then, but you still have a lot of love for it. And so when I was going through the list, I was seeing so many books that I used to read when I was in my teenage years. I used to love going to the library, sitting in the library, going through the rows, looking at who has the best looking cover and reading the synopsis. And if it seemed interesting, I would read it. But it's interesting that we're living in a generation now where a lot of people do not read physical books anymore. A lot of stuff is online. I was looking at this scholarship application that my job had for college students, and on the bottom it says, we know that AI is a part of the workflow, but we want to see your own original thoughts. And I'm like, man, that wasn't even a thing back when I was writing essays. Like you had to actually come from your brain and your research. There was no AI and no help to help you write and stuff.
Yep, so true.
But you were just talking about how we reached the end of Black History Month. We are now in Women's History Month. So I want to give a big shout out to Miss Viola Davis, who ended Black History Month by receiving the prestigious Chairman's Prize at the NAACP Image Awards. We're going to give a round of applause for her because she does a lot of great work. I know I follow her on social media. You worked alongside Viola Davis, so like you can personally attest to her dedication to her craft and everything. But like from what I see on social media, she's always promoting and uplifting Black artists in the theater and in the film industry.
Yep. I mean, she's one of the rare people that I've ever met where I had a idea of who they are, and then I got a weird echo on that end. You got something going on, Be Lovely?
That may be my computer, but hopefully it will go away.
Okay. So yeah, I think that works. So kind of. Yeah, I cannot begin to unpack the impact of what it meant for me to not only see somebody who is who you think they are, but also in regards of her leadership. I sat in front of this wall that said dream big, dream fierce every day. And being reminded, like who goes to work, being invited to dream big, dream fiercely every day. And these giant words on this wall really conveyed the image, the vision, the people walking in there, the meetings I got to have. I felt so empowered, encouraged. I'd never been supported, especially in Hollywood, the way that I was supported and continue to be supported by her production company. So, I mean, giving all reverence to Ms. Viola Davis.
Yes, she is so deserving of it. And she went viral too at the SAG Awards because when she was presenting outstanding actor in a leading role, she just kind of went up for joy when it was revealed that it was Michael B. Jordan. Everybody's just replaying that moment with her pure excitement and joy to yell out Michael B. Jordan's name for receiving this prestigious award, because typically how the award season is, the SAG Awards, well, now it's called the Actors Award, but that usually is an indicator of how the Oscars is going to be. So a lot of people thought Leonardo DiCaprio or Timothée Chalamet was going to get the SAG Award for Best Male Lead Actor. So when it was Michael B. Jordan, I guess that's why Viola Davis was just celebrating like it was one of her family members. It's great to see, another Black actor getting up one of those lead roles, because they usually get the supporting actor and actresses statuettes and not the lead.
And I can say, specifically, she is a fan of his. Black Panther came out while I worked there, and she was a huge fan of his. We made every effort while I was there to work with him. And she's somebody who has a tremendous amount of respect for a really good actor. She's Juilliard trained. She's got respect for a good actor. And she's had a lot of respect for him. I think I told you I've been a fan of Michael B. Jordan since he was Erica Kane's adopted son on All My Children. And so, you think about when somebody starts out as a child actor, especially on a soap, of having that opportunity, he was a terrible actor as a child, but he had this opportunity, all of these opportunities to practice and get better because there's so many episodes of that show, and then got cast in all of these things. And so over time, the fact that he's been practicing this since he's a child and now he's a grown man doing his thing, he's just getting better and better every time. And she's got a lot of respect for actors who can act.
Mm-hmm. And he can definitely act. His range is very wide when you look at his body of work, from Fruitvale Station to Creed to Killmonger and Black Panther to playing a set of twins in Sinners, one of them who gets turned into a vampire. So that's a whole third character in itself. This man has great range. And then I like to watch a lot of interviews that these artists do, and just hearing how humble he is, how down to earth he is, how he just recently finally moved out of his parents' house, not because he couldn't afford it, but because it helped keep him grounded and centered and focused on what his goal was, why he was in it. He's very family oriented, very private. And he says he doesn't like to reveal his personality and everything to the public because he's an artist. He wants people to come out to see the body of work and not be judging the work off of his personal life. And I can really respect that in this world where everything just seemed like oversaturation is the thing and oversharing is the thing.
Absolutely. And obviously we are on a trend of giving reverence, as we have given reverence to Viola Davis and Michael B. Jordan, Black Hollywood. Miss B Lovely, you wanted to say something about the Wayans brothers. I don't know what's going on with the Wayans brothers, talking about Make America Laugh Again. So fill me in. I want to know.
Okay, guys. Okay, gather round, gather round. It's gonna be a really, really hot girl summer this summer, not just because Megan Thee Stallion's coming out with new music, but the Wayans brother are jumping back on board with the scary movie franchise. If you don't remember, first came out in 2000. It's a horror comedy franchise where they make fun of like horror movies and do satire, really hilarious. But they got the entire original cast to come back. It's coming out June 5th. And Marlon Wayans, he said like Keenan Ivory Wayans came back. He helped to write the script. Kim Wayans is actually going to be in it too. This is her first time being in the franchise. But he says like Marlon Wayans said in the interview that he really wants to push the limit and cancel the idea of cancel culture, because he says that comedy is something where we're supposed to be in a space where it's okay to like laugh at the things that make us different, and is an opportunity to like have joy, because there's a lot of bleakness in this world. But he also teased at the fact that they are also going to be working on a new white chicks movie. So he says if Scary Movie 6 is very successful, we can look forward to White Chicks Part 2, and Don't Be a Menace to South Central While Drinking Your Juice in a Hood Part 2. I love that film. Your reaction lets me know you're very familiar with that film and like it.
I saw it in the theater when I was 12 years old.
So inappropriate for a 12-year-old to be watching.
They let me buy that ticket, and I enjoyed every minute of it.
I love the Wayans brothers. I love goofy comedy. I love stuff that laughs at things that is just so outrageous. And I do agree that we're in a time where we need something that's going to make us laugh, because like with everything that's going on in the world, I wouldn't mind just zoning out the real world and getting caught into a real good comedy that's gonna, take me back down memory lane. That's why I'm happy that the original cast from Scary Movie is jumping back on board for Scary Movie 6. So shout out to the Wayans brothers, who are always working on, great comedy work, and always trying to push the limit and, make people feel good and feel joyful, even in things that may seem inappropriate. But it's okay sometimes to laugh at inappropriate places.
Heard. I saw White Chicks in the theater too with our cousin Cece. I gave Cece a shout out. It was her birthday last week when I held this down, went rogue, and took the show over. Gave her some credit. But when I was in college and she came to visit me in college, and she was like, "Let's go see White Chicks." Nothing else was playing, and it was a movie that, like, it was the kind of movie I would have never seen if my cousin did not come from Chicago to visit college. You know what I mean? And because she loves things like that, and we were cracking up through that whole thing. I never would have thought. I would have thought that movie was funny. So
I got a surprise for you.
Oh, what?
We're doing that for the family trip. Cece says we're all going to be seeing Scary Movie 6 this summer, since it's coming out around the time. So we're going to be doing a repeat of that, Casey.
All right. And including you. I'm a fan. All right. So as we've been giving reverence to Black Hollywood, making America laugh again, I'm going to invite Hollywood, mainstream Hollywood, to do better. That we go shift to do better blues of, as we're talking about Scary Movie 6 and White Chicks 2. That is obvious that Hollywood has no interest in developing new comedies, that Hollywood has no interest in helping America laugh again. Last night I was at the shelter, and sometimes we like to turn a movie on around bedtime and, like settle in. Everybody got their phones. We do lights out at 10 p.m. And when I opened up Tubi, the first movie that came up was Bringing Down the House, and with Queen Latifah and Steve Martin. Okay. And somebody walked into the, came out the hallway, heard one line from the movie. There was like an ad on top of it. And I guess Tubi does ads. You got to clear. So couldn't even see. She walked in the room and she was like, "Is this Bringing on the House?" I was like, "It sure is." She's like, "Oh, that's one of my favorites." And I was glad that we watch Drumline. We're always just watching these like really old comedies at the shelter at night. And I love that they're free on Tubi, but I was just thinking like Hollywood just does not make these movies anymore. They're recycling this old IP. And I get it. You want to make money. People there being so much content out there coming out with new stuff, especially funny stuff. And funny stuff you can't sell overseas. It only works for an American audience. And so because of that, I feel like for like the last 20 years, we haven't had a good comedy come out this country. And I think it shows in our field, you know, in our world, right? Like our country is not laughing. So I'm grateful that the Wayans brothers are doing what they can, making up for what mainstream Hollywood is neglecting and doing what they can. They got some IP. They're rolling into it. They're like, okay, we'll make this number 6 of this movie. If that's what we need, that's what we're going to do. And props to them for continuing to make things fresh. I think I've only seen 1 and 2, and again, saw both of those in the theater. But I think I saw 3 and was like over it or something. So I'm glad that they're reviving it. I think there's a good time for that. And like Hollywood, do better. There is money to be made for making Americans laugh. Do better.
Mm-hmm. And I think this is the step in the right direction towards doing better, because the reason why Scary Movie 3 was bad and not as good as the first 2, the Wayans brothers were kicked off of it because of Harvey Weinstein. So Harvey Weinstein had them removed. They had a difference of creativity and money. And so 3, 4, and 5 was all without the Wayans brothers. Marlon said now that Harvey Weinstein is in jail, has no control over the product, him and his brothers are picking it back up and going to do it how they originally intended the third one to be.
I love that you have the tea behind it. That I didn't even know. I was like, I saw 3. I was like, I moved on. And it makes sense. Like it really speaks to the Wayans brothers as creators, right? Like obviously they get their craft. They know how to make America laugh. And Hollywood has this tendency to really look at the value of the IP without recognizing that the creative, you can't just replace somebody with AI. that creatives have value and they connect with people in a way that no computer and no executive ever can. And so we are what we are. Props to Wayans.
Yes, and shout out to all of the creative storytellers out there, and let's continue to support the independent creative storytellers, because we need more original stories and not a regurgitation. Like I am happy for Scary Movie 6 because I want that nostalgia, but I'm also excited when I see things like what Ryan Coogler puts out with his original stuff, because it's something like you've never seen before, like with Girls Trip. I forgot who it was that produced and wrote that, but that was something new that I hadn't that's not really seen before in the comedy realm. So let's continue to support these projects that are putting, original content out there.
Absolutely. I cannot for the life of me remember Girls Trip. And I saw that one was a panel where the actual writer was in the room with me, and I cannot think of the writer.
And that was such a big deal because it brought so much money to the theaters, and it was an all Black female led cast, and that was like a real big deal. I remember it was like 2016, 2017 when Girls Trip came out.
It sure was. And what was so wild, like monumental about it for me, like of having, been in the room with the writers, some of the cast were there. I was at work. It was when I worked at CAA in LA, and they had the panel that happened all the time at CAA. So I was like, oh great, after work. I'm for damn sure I just sneak into that. I was not invited into that. I snuck in. The Black folks were like, like I'm getting into this. As my job was not at that pay grade where I was getting let into that. But I'm glad I snuck in with somebody who was invited. And the person, the Black woman who I sat next to out of the legal department, her name is Kiera Davenport. I was sitting next to her. We watching the movie, we cracking up. And then afterwards, after the movie's over and we're listening to the panel, she's like, what just hit me? She's like, how Black women have a tendency to have to always be the strong one, be the strong friend. And she's like, I just had this idea of we need to check on our strong friend. And that night she wrote a Huffington Post article about check on your strong friend. And now it's a whole phenomena. So I was like, I like messaged her and I was like, I remember when you came up with that concept when I was sitting next to you at Girls Trip. Like, how do you feel about this being a whole phenomena that you just like set off? Nobody even knows you're the person who like did this and came up with this concept. And she's like, I'm just glad it's out in the world. So like, props to Kiera Davenport for blessing us with this concept, for Girls Trip for blessing Kiera Davenport with this idea. And I feel like it's a perfect segue into making peace with your inner shit talker. This is be lovely. I'm echoing a little funky again. The making peace with your inner shit talker is a 90-day program that I created because my inner shit talker was preventing me from living my best life, that I wasn't pursuing my dreams in Hollywood, despite having dream big, dream fierce on the wall behind me. It was really challenging for me to get rid of I don't want to say get rid of to make peace with my inner shit talker, for my inner shit talker to not have control over me. And I saw the value of me utilizing my own program and also creating this space and this opportunity for other people to make peace with their own inner shit talker so they can go out in the world and do Wayans Brothers type big shit of believing in themselves and investing in ourselves. And so today I am inviting, Be Lovely, our reflection question for day 4. Would love to hear your answer for this. What do you need to stay connected with your intuition and allow it to guide all of your decisions? So maybe that's kind of a 2-parter, Be Lovely, of do you let your intuition guide your decisions? And if not, what would support you in making that transition?
Yeah. I remember we had a conversation about this on the show before about how like my intuition, I see it as the Holy Spirit that's living within me through my Christian faith. I listen to it, I let it guide me. And the way how I'm able to hear it is if I like take a moment to be still. Like if it's too much going on, it's like, okay, let me just take a moment, let me take a breath. Let me be still. Let me listen to my body. Let me listen to what signals my body is telling me. And I do allow it to guide my decisions, because the times when I've gone against my intuition, the Holy Spirit, that's when things would go wrong. And I'm like, man, I should have listened to my first mind. That's something my mom used to say. So I'm very much connected with my intuition and listening to my body, listening to the signals that it gives me, because it's meant to help us survive. Is what our ancestors use, and it's something that I use.
That's beautiful. I and you're right. I appreciate you bringing up that we've talked about this on the show before, because I have a very similar perspective. Despite not being a Christian, I believe that the intuition is the way that the divine communicates to us. And like many people, I operated from worry. I operated from fear. And having a conscious recognition of fear's presence, of worry's presence, of my temptation to control an outcome versus trusting that everything is going the way that it's meant to go. I needed, for me, the Making Peace with Your Inner Shit Talker program is what helped me develop the tools of letting my intuition guide all of my decisions. Right before you came on, I was telling our producer, Clarissa, that I've started this daily meditation practice. I'm on day 33 of meditating with the sunrise. And never been an early riser, first of all. And second of all, it's not like on February 1st, I decided today is the day that I'm going to start meditating with the sunrise. It was just something that happened. I noticed that the window that I've got a bunch of plants and art in front of faces the east where the sunrise is. And one day I was up early. That day was February 1st. And I was like, oh, let me take my meditation timer out and just like watch the sunrise. And then I kept doing it every day. And here I am 33 days in. I'm kind of curious to see what happens when the time change shifts. But like, I really love that this meditation practice felt intuitively led, that I'm not worried about whether I keep it or whether I don't, that I'm moving in flow, operating from a place of trust and faith. And I'm one day going to get back to Substack. I've like started half of a Substack article for my next one. I'm calling it day 34 and a half. So I've been stuck on it. I'm like 100, I wouldn't say stuck, but I've been reflecting for like 100 days about what I'm going to say next. And I'm confident it's going to come out pretty soon, maybe at the top of next week. But y'all can check out Substack and read about day 4, and day 34.5 is coming up soon. Stay tuned.
Yeah, I like that. And don't rush the writing process. I always see the writing process as when it comes to me, that's when I have something to say. But when you try to force something, it's not, it just doesn't feel like it's effortless, like it flows.
Yeah, that's what it is. And so I'm feeling it. I'm knowing it's on its way. But yeah, absolutely not rushing. So Be Lovely, we've just got a couple of minutes left. So I'm gonna ask you, you got a gem that you want to drop for us? And do you want to pray us out, or do you want me to pray us out?
Do I have a gem? Do I have a gem? I don't know if I have a gem. I have thoughts, a lot of musings, a lot of ramblings that's going through my head. But I'm just very, very excited. And I just implore everybody to look into whatever it is that used to make you excited as a child and try to like hold on to that little childhood joy. That's something that I try to carry with me every single day, because adulthood can be very bleak sometimes. It can be very hard, it can be very challenging, but if you have something to fall back on that brings you a lot of joy, and for me, it's my comfort shows. It's being excited to lay in bed and watch a couple of my favorite childhood cartoons. That's something I like to do.
I've been watching Ninja Turtles on Tubi, like no lie. I've been eating
Yo,
Oreo cereals with marshmallow and watching Ninja Turtles for the last 3 mornings.
Shout out to Tubi for bringing all of the WB and Cartoon Network cartoons on that platform, and for it to be for free. Honey, Dexter's Laboratory, Powerpuff Girls, Courage the Cowardly Dog, The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. I've been watching that.
Yeah, the youth at the shelter been talking about it too. They were mentioning it to me, and I've been watching the Care Bears. Like that was my show when I was 4 years old. Care Bears is on Tubi. Yes, it is.
It's lit. It's about to be a lit weekend. I'm watching the Care Bears. Saturday morning, Tubi's going to be on. Care Bears will be on. I love the Care Bears too. But yes, thank you for that. That's a gem right there. Go get Tubi, y'all. It's free. It has ads, but that's okay, because that's a bathroom break or a laundry break for you. So we have 1 minute left. Let me get us together, gather around, get yourself prepared for however it is that you like to pray. And thank you for joining us for another episode while we discussed all things entertainment, all things that was uplifting and inspiring. And I just ask that each person walks away with, digging back into what it is that used to make you joyful and holding on to that, guarding your joy like your life depends on it, because you need joy to get through this life. Hold on to that light. Find a way to be a light in this world and share that light with the people that is around you. Amen.
Amen. And so it is. Yes, yes. All right, y'all. We will see you next Wednesday at
Thursday.
Yeah, we'll see you next Thursday at 12 Central, 1 Eastern, 11 Pacific. Y'all have the best week ever.
You have the best day ever. Thanks for joining us.